Anton Schonken from Cradock, and I love flying one-loft racing. I started in 2019 with a gentleman named Jacques de Koning, which helped me. He gave me 10 pigeons, which I entered into Cradock one-loft race. I did quite well with a little pigeon called, I think it was 236, and since then I just enjoyed it, and I started falling in love with one-loft racing. I was looking for a name. Everybody's got a name on a loft, and I was Googling like everybody does, and I found that everybody's got a loft name, you know, some funny name. And I found it good, Googled, and I said fast, something fast. And Hobby came up, which is a falcon. It's a fast falcon. So I decided to call it Hobby Loft. After 2 years flying as Hobby Loft, I flew Victoria Falls as Hobby Loft. I flew Cape Town as Hobby Loft. I flew various one-lofts, and I started doing better and better, and started buying in a few better pigeons. And then I thought about it, that all the better lofts, or the people actually breeding pigeons, don't fly under the name, but they fly under their own name. So I wanted to make my own name and actually get an Anton Schonken pigeon out there by using different winners and actually breeding to a name. That's the actual main reason. But I was a bit shy in the beginning, because you're flying with top people, big people, great lofts in South Africa, great pigeons, and just to come in and wham bam fly as Anton Schonken would have been an embarrassment if, you know, I come last. So I was actually hiding behind the name Hobby Loft. Cape Town is a difficult race. I flew Cradock one-loft race in 2019. Unfortunately, didn't win, but I had a pigeon there, as I said, and then I thought I'm good, like we all do. And I thought, now's the time to send to something else. So I sent to Cape Town. I sent 5 pigeons to Cape Town in 2019. I did well. I had a little pigeon there called Mustang Sally. It was a Verrectorin and a 1081 hen. And she nearly made it. She nearly made ace pigeon. I think I was second ace pigeon until the final. And then after that, the pigeon went missing. So I then bought on that same year, I think it was 2020, I followed all the imported pigeons. And as you know, imported pigeons are extremely expensive. But you have the opportunity when they fly in South Africa, and especially at Cape Town or anywhere in South Africa, if an imported pigeon flies there, it's too expensive for them to take the pigeon back. So you've got the opportunity to buy relatively cheap. So I loved this pigeon from the beginning. I was following it, I was studying it, I was doing nightly. I never slept. I was just swatting pigeons and eyes and everything. And this pigeon caught my eye that I thought it's going to win the final. It eventually didn't win the final, but I then bought it on sale at Cape Town. It is an Andreas Müller from Germany. Stunning pigeon. There's a story about this pigeon. It didn't breed for 2 years. But anyway, after 2 years it bred. And then the mother of the ace pigeon of this year, of 2022, is Hardy Kruger, a stunning pigeon, Black Ocean Birdie. So I put Andreas on Black Ocean Birdie, and the magic happened. And I'm very fortunate, maybe a bit more lucky than good, but very, very fortunate to have first drop, second in the final, and then eventually ace pigeon. Very, very, very happy about it and thankful. I'll stick to Cape Town one-loft racing because everybody's negative about Cape Town one-loft racing. And firstly, I flew there because there were international pigeons, also from everywhere. And you didn't get the opportunity to fly against anybody else. You know, if you flew other lofts, there are other lofts that have international and getting international people. But Cape Town at that stage had international flyers, and I saw the opportunity to dig in under Hobby Loft and have a low profile and see what I do against the world. It's tough, it's shorter, it's tough, it's known to be a riller, and I enjoy the competition. It's just a nice race. From Cape Town, I did Cradock. I started off with Cradock, one loft, Cape Town. I did Dinokeng. I did Pattaya, non-chock. I might leave one or two out. Bloemfontein Central. At Dinokeng, I did quite well. I didn't win, but I went to Dinokeng final. I did well, reasonably well, always in the top 10%. I think if you're in the top 10%, then you do well. Cape Town, I've always been in the top 10%, so I'm just, again, a bit lucky there. And then Victoria Falls, I flew 2 years, I flew as hobby loft, and I came down from 500th position to 200th to 100th, and obviously when you do a little bit better and better and better, then you start thinking you are better, and it's my favorite. Everybody that knows me knows that Victoria Falls is my favorite. I've got a lot of positions there. I normally win my money back, so it is an expensive race, but the reason I do Victoria Falls is that you actually don't lose money. You pay for a pigeon, the same as Cape Town. You pay for a pigeon and you've got either 3 or 4 reserves. So you don't lose money if you do it properly. Where I then stopped flying the other lofts where you pay for the pigeons, but if they go lost, you lose the money. Then I also entered Hoosier, which I'm very, very proud of. The only one that beat me there was our president, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa. I think he had a 5th place, and I had a 7th place in Hoosier, United States of America. And it's my 3rd year I'm flying there now. Last year I didn't do well, but watch out this year. I'm on my name. The one-loft racing and club racing, you need 2 answers on that one. I think on one-loft racing, you have to have, unfortunately, you have to have the right pedigrees, and a lot of people say pedigrees don't win, but you have to have winners. You have to have winners on winners, and it's expensive to fly one-loft racing. It's not cheap. It's changed in the last 4 or 5 years. It's changed, very expensive. Your food is extremely important. Your medicine, you know, a lot of people don't believe in treating pigeons before they're sick. I'm different. I treat my pigeons for different various sicknesses and stuff before they get sick, which people don't always agree. So in one-loft racing, it is breeding, the proper winners, buying from the proper bloodlines, and not only buying the winners, but buying pigeons and mating pigeons that have not only bred winners, but more family winners. There are a lot of people in South Africa that have these kind of pigeons. You can buy from a lot of people. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to take the best I can afford and just never breed the same. I keep on breeding different ones. So I would, for example, do well with this pair, but I will definitely pair it up with something else and send it next year. So I don't stick to something. I actually keep on breeding and swapping around, and I'm still learning. I'm in the game for 5 years, so that's a bit unfair to ask me what to do to win. Rather ask the people that are in the game for 50 years. But club racing, there are too many people just buying pigeons because they're getting it for free or for 100 Rand. And you know, if you've got those kind of pigeons, you can get pigeons for free that are good, but rather get the real pigeons or learn about the pigeon. You know, it's not about the bloodline. If you've got the pigeon, you know, learn about the pigeon itself and believe in what you're doing. I believe in what I'm doing, and it might be wrong, but it's one of those things. Just keep on, and you'll get there. My breeding strategy is always to find the best I can afford. Now, everybody has a budget. It's not always the expensive pigeon. I've recently bought a few relative cheap pigeons. I'm still waiting for them. In the beginning, I also bought a little bit too expensive, thinking that expensive pigeons are better than cheaper pigeons. But if you can get what you want, what you're aiming for, you know, the body feature of the pigeon is what I'm after. So I have purchased a few Pippa pigeons. I've also got some of my older pigeons left. I was fortunate to meet the Pipa people at Victoria Falls last year. Had nice chats to them. Very difficult to get the pigeon here. It takes you 6 months, maybe 8 months, maybe a year to get the pigeon here, and it's expensive. So breeding is, if you can get your hand on, so any breeder, if you can get your hand on something that is proven, not just a pigeon that has been flying, or somebody that's been flying in a loft and been doing well in a club. If you want to do club racing, you can basically fly any pigeon. You know, the stronger the pigeon, the better. I personally am still learning, and I crossbreed. Not that you people would want to know, but I crossbreed pigeons. I don't stick to a name. I want my own name. I'm breeding up to an Anton Schonken bloodline. You know, too many people buy a pigeon from a certain person, or only from a certain person, and they believe in that. That's it. You know, if you've got that pigeon, I wouldn't call all the names, but there are plenty of brilliant fanciers in South Africa. People believe that I only go with that, but I believe you take the best that you can from everybody, and then you breed out of that. And my strategy is never underfeed a pigeon. Make sure the babies are healthy, and time in the loft. That's it. I did not want to do club racing, and last year I did. We're from a town called Cradock, which is very small, not really big. We've got a problem that we don't have too many people flying, so I'm the only one left flying in the union. This year I'll be flying right through the season. I will try and make it to the end. I normally fly, well, not normally, last year I did fly, but I only flew up to 500 kilometers, and then I withdrew my pigeons, and everybody sort of criticized about you getting scared or whatever, but I didn't want to risk losing pigeons on a longer distance, and on 500 kilometers I could see what was working for me. The reason I'm flying club is not because I want to win the club. The reason is to see what my pigeons are doing, because I've got my breeding station with the imported pigeons and a few local pigeons mixed into them, don't be mistaken. But then how do you test them? If you've got to send them all to one loft, you eventually end up paying hundreds of rands to fly one lofts, but you'll never know what those pigeons can actually do in your own territory. So I'm going to fly this season, and I'm going to stand and see if I can do well for Cradock this year. Hopefully I do. And my one-loft racing this year, I've sent 28 pigeons to Victoria Falls. This morning was hotspot 1. I've got 21 left. I'm hoping and praying, and it does take a lot of praying and hoping to do well. You're flying against the best in the world. I think. I've sent 20 to Hoosier. So I'm flying Hoosier this year. I've already sent them. They're already there. I'm flying Vic Falls. I will be flying Cape Town. And I am flying Denokeng. Those are the 4 that I'm flying this year. My wife does support me. My daughters, all 3 of them, as well as my son. It's a soft spot, but if Daddy's in the loft, they understand. And the backing I get from them is worth every penny. I've spent a lot of money in this hobby, and if you didn't have that kind of support, I don't think, the people that don't have the support from their family, I think you're going to have a problem, because it does take a lot of time. We all know that does, but I've got full support of my family, which I really appreciate. I'm only in the sport for 5 years, so fair enough, I don't know what happened all the years before. I had family, I had friends, and I had people doing this sport, but in all fairness, I think there's a shift to one-loft racing. There's a shift to club, not as much as club racing, where it's dangerous to go to a club and go home 11 o'clock at night. We all know that the roads are busy at night. We all know that it's not so easy to get out like in the old days where I think the people went out. And things have changed with the new club system, the clocking system, various clocks that you've got that you can basically take your cell phone and you can sit and see when the pigeon came in. All those things are making it easier to enter into, even if it's not a one loft, it's like flying together with people instead of each person going and basketing his pigeons. I know in Gauteng there's still a lot of competition, and I think in Cape Town there's a lot of competition, but in towns like Hofmeyer, Tarkastad, Steynsburg, Queenstown, Venterstad, it's kind of dead because fuel, the truck that uses the fuel, it can't, you know, if they got to come and pick up my 30 pigeons, what the cost. So I think if you want to know, get involved where you can fly in a group. I don't think it's as alive as it was, but in hindsight, so many people have phoned me now to ask what I'm doing and if I have some pigeons available. I think if you can buy better pigeons, you know, stop breeding what you've been breeding for the last 10 years. Stop getting a freebie from somebody that's throwing a pigeon out and feeding it millies. Feed proper food, proper medicine, and your training. A lot of people say to me, but I'm busy, I can't fly as good as you because you are lucky, you've got time to go. No, I haven't got the time, nobody's got the time, but make time, because if you haven't got the time, don't expect the pigeon to perform. So it's time, breeding, and the food. And then you don't know enough about pigeons. Learn about pigeons, because I know nothing about pigeons, and I'm going to learn. If I've got another 100 years to live, I think I learn every day. So those are the 5 factors that I think are very important. Once again, if you're talking about normal flying, club flying, I don't think I can give anybody advice. I think I'm not in a position to give anybody advice. I think people can give me advice. So I concentrate on one lofts. It's a different pigeon. It's not the big pigeon. It's a more medium pigeon. Maybe it's got this and that and that. And I'd like to say that, if I'm allowed to, I'd like to say I'm a pilot. And being a pilot, I think I've got a little bit of an advantage. You know, a big plane like an albatross flies over the sea, very slow. And then you get a little RV-7. It can do maneuvers upside down and it's fast. And you've got the 4 factors. You've got thrust, you've got drag, you've got lift, and you've got gravity. Same with the pigeon. If the pigeon hasn't got thrust, if it hasn't got vuma, and if it hasn't got power, or if it hasn't got the right wing, you know, so there's so many features. And that I can't tell you what to do. All I can tell you is that I sit on the internet and I phone people and I talk to people and I find what works, and I've learned so much in 5 years that I can't actually tell you how excited I am if I've got another 5 years to learn. I don't think I've started where I can be, or I'm even at the tip of where I think I could be. But fanciers out there, talk to the old toppies. Talk to the people that know the pigeons. Don't just buy from a neighbor for 100 Rand because you've got 100 Rand. It's an expensive story. You're feeding a chicken. And there's an old saying, chickens don't fly. So advice, love and care, time, and a lot of luck.